Fran isn't the only one that's being influenced by Myne. Ferdinand has also been influenced, thanking Fran for all of his efforts in helping guide Myne. He's such a tsundere. He's such a tsundere. Just that little thank you for your efforts or whatever. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely changed a lot. He just doesn't want to admit it because baka. But no, episode 11 of season 4 of Ascendance of Bookworm, it's an okay episode. I think overall it's an okay episode. Again, we're kind of going back to where not very exciting stuff happening. Not too much exciting stuff really kind of ramping up. It feels like another preparations episode, another let's see what's going on for the future type of episode, which is okay in itself, but just unfortunately needs something else mixed in to sort of keep a little bit intriguing. There is something in here, and that, of course, is the letters that were addressed to the previous High Bishop. That stuff I want to talk about. For damn sure I want to talk about that stuff. And Veronica, that stuff I definitely want to talk about, but the rest of it just feels like, again, a lot of setup. It's a lot of setup for stuff for the future, but still, either way, let's just get into it like we usually do, go scene by scene so I don't miss anything. But yes, opening up the episode with what they left off with, this big bear thing that has absorbed Myne's mana. Yeah, and a little bit anticlimactic. It was like all this build up the last episode. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is Ferdinand going to be able to take down this thing? Are they going to need more people? Because it's absorbed, again, Myne's mana. Like, it has a crap ton of mana inside of it. And no, Ferdinand just shows up and says, drop the shield, done. Excalibur. And it's done. I did like the fact that, yeah, Myne, while, again, last episode seemed like she was struggling to keep the thing under control, yeah, she's like falling asleep. It's like the last episode's like, oh, it's got so much strength. It's actually taking so much mana to keep this up. And now she's like, oh, I'm sorry, what? What? Little aftercast this episode's talk about how, like, they had to tell her stories about a library in order to keep her entertained so she doesn't fall asleep. Yeah, I'm not really sure why she found it entertaining, but I told her about, like, the staff there and their ages and everything like that. And yeah, she found it thrilling or whatever. But anyway, yeah. Find out the stone itself is useless now because it's been tainted with all the different Fey Beast mana, which is kind of a bummer, which, yeah, it sucks because that technically means that at least another season she'll have to wait to have something to get rid of this. And again, if they fail another one, that's another season they have to kind of wait. This sucks that this takes an entire, like, there's only one moment in every season to actually gather this. I mean, it makes sense because this is not something they normally have to do. Ferdinand himself's like, yeah, we should have done more research. We don't know enough information about this. This is my fault. We didn't prepare enough. We didn't have enough information about this knight. And so now we're finding out that, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And these monsters are going to show up maybe possibly or whatever. But it's like, yeah, this one knight, an entire season that you're going to get one ingredient. And again, that kind of sucks. They have to do that for every single season and potentially not know much about the next season's ingredient for this entire thing. It's, again, not something they normally do. And so there's going to be a lot of unknowns and, unfortunately, failures. It just sucks because, like, yeah, again, they're planning this, and there's the fear there that this stone might cause damage to her. It's not something that's supposed to be inside of a person, but we'll see. But yeah, that's when we cut over to the preparations for winter with the children of Hase, them doing all their stuff, eventually finding out that this craftsman, Ingo, wants to meet with her and that he's been looking at the actual printing press, wanting to improve it. We get into the whole thing with the Blue Priest once again, gathering all the chalices and filling them with mana. We've done this whole thing before. We've had this whole, like, festival in this show before that she had to help with in order to fill up the chalices. And they would take them to land, use the mana from those chalices in order to, again, increase the amount of crops and whatnot they get. It makes sense for, again, a world with mana like this that actually enriches the land. That's when we find out, yes, this is the new responsibility for Myne as the High Bishop, is to kind of address all this stuff and manage it. But also, as she has a special key. Of course, she has a key that, gets to the library, which is the most important key for her, but there's a special key for that. It's kind of funny that she's been in that library before and she's never noticed that closet that has special books in it. I figured that she'd be like, okay, what's this? I gotta know what's in here now. But yeah, apparently she has this new key that goes in this special little closet for these special books. Kind of find out they're not actually books. They're actually just boxes that have letters inside of them, which are addressed to the previous High Bishop. Now, here's the interesting thing, because, yeah, of course, they're like, yeah, we're going to probably report this to the High Priest, whatever. But she goes to start reading them. Now, the first one, I'm most intrigued by the first one. It says, to whom I trust. And immediately, Myne assumes this has got to be somebody that is romantically interested in the bishop. Someone that at least is being very, I guess, close with the High Bishop. That's the best way I would kind of put it. Myne just assumes it's got to be a love letter. Somebody that really likes him. And so somebody that he was potentially keeping a secret from everybody. Somebody that secretly he cared about, that he was taking care of. But these letters are filled with apparently bitter grievances and resentment of someone who, despite being raised as an heir, had the position as a successor stolen by their younger brother upon birth. Only be married off to another territory by parents, they were afraid of the strife that might arise between the siblings, and that he's the only one they can rely on. Now, when she goes to bring the other letters to Ferdinand, the bribery ones, she does say that in those letters, Veronica keeps being brought up. I don't think that she's implying that these letters were wrote by Veronica, but I did have a moment of thinking that. So now I'm kind of wondering, can't be Veronica. Who is in this letter? I'm assuming this is going to be something like later. I'm assuming this is sort of some storyline that they're going to be talking about for later on, that there's going to be some younger brother. Is it an even younger brother of Sylvester and Ferdinand? I don't think so. That would be interesting because that would bring up another potential, again, conflict with the brothers. I don't think they've ever implied somebody else, but I mean, there's always a chance there. I think this might be something else. It's got to be something, again, of the previous generation, before Sylvester and Ferdinand, a previous generation, and it might not be specifically about this area. It could be about a neighboring country or something like that. But either way, I found this letter to be kind of interesting, and again, it kind of implies something big potentially is brewing. Again, could be in this kingdom, it could be somewhere outside of this kingdom, but we'll see. But yeah, the other letters that she finds are exchanges of bribery, which includes Viscount Gerlache. And this pretty much confirms that whole thing there, to which, again, Myne brings that to Ferdinand. Ferdinand, again, confirms the fact that Veronica, who keeps appearing in the letters, is actually the elder sister of the High Bishop. And, yes, Sylvester's mother. I thought that they brought this up previously in the previous episodes. I thought specifically they said that her name was Veronica. Yeah, because it was Ferdinand. Ferdinand brought up Veronica. I'm guessing this is the point in which they actually specified that's who she is. I thought they said previously that was her. But either way, yeah, this is Sylvester's mother, and again was the one that apparently was taking care of Wilfred before they retook that control over her. And then apparently during the interrogation with the High Bishop, or the previous High Bishop, it was brought up that she was involved with this stuff. Which kind of sucks, that she was involved in some sort of bribery that was working behind the scenes, and that's led to her being pretty much locked up at this point. That she was involved with all this garbage, and it seems like in her attempt to protect the High Bishop, that's what got her in that situation. That she was working very hard to protect him, and that's why she's in the position that she is. Now, this sort of does dredge up a little bit of a little wound here, and again, this is what they were implying in the previous episodes with Wilfred and his situation, that Ferdinand does not think highly of his mother, does not like her. Again, says that when he came back, all she was saying constantly was that he was a failure, that the useless have no right to live. That was her words that she said to him constantly. So yeah, he doesn't care. Oh yeah, she's going to prison, whatever, I don't care. Mine's like, wait, but she's your mother. I don't care. Yeah, Sylvester seems like he's a little bothered by this. It leaves a bad taste in his mouth, but he knows it's the best outcome. Again, based on what happened, the whole situation with that High Bishop, it had to happen. For Ferdinand, don't care. Which this, of course, with the conversation with Sylvester later on, sort of does bring up that sadness that, yeah, behind this person that's keeping a smile, behind this person that is constantly trying to keep a chipper attitude, he's having to make very painful decisions. And yeah, that sort of is to the favor of what happened with Wilfred. He wanted Wilfred to have happiness. Wanted Wilfred not to experience the same thing he did fighting over the crown. Wanted him to have it given to him. No worry about competition. Just boom, it's your position. Just grow up and have an enjoyable life. And that unfortunately turned bad for Wilfred, but for Sylvester, that's what he wanted. He's making these decisions because he wants happiness, and there's problems that's being caused for it. So he had to kind of correct course and make decisions that he's not comfortable with in order to push his child to be able to take over his position. Again, it's sort of comes with the territory. You got to make decisions like this. You got to make those actions. You got to take those actions. And for the, stability of the country, you have to stay consistent sometimes with your actions, even when it does include your mother. Anyways, yeah, we have the meeting with Sylvester, and he's like, oh, I got these extra chalices over here. Can you fill them like last time? No. Wait, what? No, I don't want to get sick again, and we don't have enough, blue robes. We're not going to be doing that stuff for you anymore. Come on, I made I made a call to do this. Nope, you're gonna have to live with it. Ferdinand's over there like, don't worry, I got some medicine for you. Nope. You got to stop with your dependency on that medicine too. You're getting too much dependency. You got to find people to replace you. Stop getting sick and depending on that medicine. Oh, I gotta train somebody to replace me. Yeah, how about you? It's a dorky little conversation here. But yeah, they did bring up Wilfred for a brief moment. The fact that he's trying really hard to be able to compete against Myne now. Yeah, I kind of assumed that was going to happen. That, and I think I mentioned this like 2 episodes ago, is the fact that just like with Ferdinand pushing Sylvester to get better, you're going to have Wilfred, who was messing around before, now with Myne showing up, now he's wanting to improve himself. So there's a little bit of a paralleling happening there. Super cute. But that's when we start getting into the Ingo guy showing up and wanting to ask about his carpentry skill. That he feels like he's no longer the exclusive carpenter because she went to the Carpenter Guild in order to do stuff for the monastery. This is one of those ones where I kind of understand this guy's feelings, but at the same time, it's like, dude, we got so much stuff going on. I'm not going to constantly baby you. You're not that special. We have to have a lot of people working on these projects. But I get it. The fact that there's all these rumors going around that he was not doing his job properly. Oh, they went with somebody else. Obviously, that means he's not important anymore. He's no longer this important person. This is the problem that really a lot of these individuals that are, her Gutenbergs, all the Gutenbergs have this feeling that they are this sort of chosen one because she has to sort of keep everything under wraps. These are these chosen individuals that do a lot of great things for her, that are her trusted individuals that she is going to be going to for first. And to have them sort of feel like somebody else is taking that position, yeah, they feel like they're going to come down. And yes, it's obviously getting to a lot of this whole aspect with Zack as well. Zack feels like this desire to prove themselves to other individuals, to raise everybody's opinion of them. And whenever they're not really working on projects that sort of distinguish themselves from everybody else, it's a slight on them, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, this is what Ingo is here for, and he's upset about the whole situation. Feels relieved when she says that, no, I really do respect all of your work. That's when he goes into talking about actually improving the press. Before we bring in Zack and Johan to talk about creating parts out of metal. This is so funny. Again, it gets in the whole thing about them trying to distinguish themselves and everything, but it is again more of Zack trying to prove himself. But it's still she brings everybody in there. Is like, okay, Zack, Johan, and Ingo work together. I want you 3 to work together. He needs parts in order to prove this thing. He needs parts as a carpenter to improve this thing. I want you guys as metal craftsmen to make it for him. Those parts. Johan's like, yeah, sure. Again, Johan's all about pleasing Myne. Whatever you want. Whatever, anything. Tell me exactly what you want and I'll create exactly what you want. He doesn't want to think about it. He just wants to do what she needs. Zack wants to create new things. He wants to distinguish himself. Improve things in a lot of regards. But in his mindset, I'm not going to get credit for that. So I don't want to have anything to do with it. Where did this guy get those cojones? Because he just told literally the daughter of the Archduke no. She told him something and he said no. Now, I don't necessarily think that Myne said it in a commanding way, but that was a request. And even a request from the daughter of the Archduke or a noble, just a noble. A noble has requested something of a commoner, and Zack said no. Where did he get this bravery? I'm like, there's no way. There's no way he just told her no. I don't know. It does feel like one of those little kind of inconsistency with these individuals that they have this willingness to say no to a noble. Now, and it goes to the idea that Zack himself isn't, just like most of these commoners, aren't used to being around nobles and thus would make a mistake like that unknowingly and end up dead. But still, it's like, where did you get that bravery to say no to her? Or at least to beg her not to force you to have to do that or something like that. But anyways, that's putting that aside. It kind of gets in the whole idea of, her respecting his ability and his ideas and his designs and then opening the door for him to essentially make money through blueprints. That no, it might not be something that you'll create, but at least you can show design. That way, we'll make some money from this through the blueprints. And this is something that he's all for because, again, something that helps him. I'll be truthful, I'm not a big fan of Zack, and I think it's a lot to do with the fact that he's so selfish. I think I do respect him for his ability to be creative. Again, somebody that is not willing to sort of accept the status quo, but willing to sort of evolve things. He's a visionary rather than somebody that just does what he's told. And there is definitely a lot of value in that. But he is also somebody that is extremely selfish, always thinking about himself, and honestly, a little bit too combative for his own good. Again, something that hopefully he doesn't talk to anybody else that is a noble. Because again, I think he would end up dead. It's kind of like that whole situation with the kids from Hase. It's like, the moment they're saying no, it's like you have to know how to talk to these nobles. You're going to end up dead. Shoot, Ferdinand right now is trying to think of ways he's going to kill this mayor because he disrespected him and didn't do what he was telling him to do. But good on him, I guess. Anyways, after confirming with him that she's going to buy his blueprints, he's super happy and leaves. We find out that, yeah, it looks like they're having a little bit of a staffing issue. So Myne decides to increase the staffers, find some more staffers to help with Gil so that Fran doesn't have too much work on his plate. Got a girl that's going to become an assistant for the chef and all this kind of stuff. Before Ferdinand asks if Myne's ready for her debut, which apparently she is as long as they keep her away from books. Of course, keep her away from the books. Again, thanking Fran for all of his work. I think it's due. I think especially this last season, it feels like we're seeing a lot of where Fran is kind of being the glue that keeps a lot of things together, really holding things together, holding Myne up, keeping whatever plan that she has set forth, in motion. He's doing a good job. If I remember correctly, Fran was assistant to Ferdinand and was transferred over to Myne, if I remember correctly. So, but yeah, after that we have the choosing of the new press, and like we all kind of expected, it was going to be Zack. Ends up being Zack, and yeah, she buys the blueprint. Before you find out that everybody that wants to go meet with Myne, of course, they have to go through Benno. Ingo's like, it was worth it, all the money that had to spend in order to come here to see you. And she's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, Benno charged them to go see Myne. Which at first I'm like, what a dick move. But it makes sense. Again, these commoners, if they went to go see Myne, they'd probably end up dead or locked up before they even got to her, or quickly thrown out. Obviously, probably just quickly thrown out. They would probably just not give them the time of the day. If they walk up to the gates and they're like, I want to see Rosa Myne, they're going to be saying, who the hell are you? Get out of here. It's because Benno has the connections that he does and the ability to, converse with the nobles, that they even have a shot of coming in there to talk to her. He has to be the one to communicate to people to get them in the door. And so, yeah, it's all of his time. And time is money for a merchant. So it's like one of those things where it's like, that's super greedy, but again, that's his life. It's taking time out of his day. This is not something that he wants to do on a regular basis. So it makes sense. But yeah, we wrap up the episode with her saying that this is our fourth winter in this world. And my God, it's been 4 years. It feels like it's been more than that. But I guess it makes sense because it's not like she's grown that much. But yeah, 4 years in this world so far. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, y'all take care.